All right, we picked up this 61 Cadillac. It's pretty complete, straight, rust-free, killer fins. Let's see, since 697. I have the skirts in the cab. Looks to be all there. Pretty cool car. Let's see if she'll run.
Welcome back to the channel. We finally got the motor back from the hearse, and there it is in all its glory. That's the motor and transmission out of the hearse, which means we now have the parts we need to get this 61 Cadillac sedan Deville back on the road. Now, we shared a little bit of info on this car when we did the hearse video. If you haven't checked that video out, definitely go check it out. It was a lot of fun. We literally just bought this car as parts to do the hearse, but obviously it's still a beautiful car, extremely solid. This car hasn't been touched in 28 years. The guy we got it from was working on it with his brother, and his brother passed away. That's the reason he was getting rid of it. He's got a lot of new parts on here, and it should be a lot of fun getting this thing going and cruising it. Let's go ahead and take a little peek around this thing and see exactly what we're working with here. Now, as you can tell, there's not a lot of rust on this car. Most of the glass is in great shape on here. This one passenger window is cracked, but the rest of it is flawless. Now, as we look inside here, you can see there's a brand new recovered seat. Apparently the guy paid about $1,600 to have this front seat redone. He did not get the rear seat done, but that is a perfect front seat. And then everything else is kind of faded and old, but all there and all in great shape still. You can see we have a full set of what I believe used to be color matched to the car hubcaps over there. Got the 61 Cadillac shop manual that came with it. New battery that we bought for this thing. And a few extra parts that he had bought for it before he gave up on it. Behind the seat here, we've got an extra water pump on the ground. That's not good to see, but I do believe this one already has a water pump on it. No headliner. You can see we're missing the glove box there, but it's sitting right here. So we'll try to get that put back in, and that will complete this dash. The miles say 39,000. Not sure if that's 139 or an actual 39 based on the condition of the pedals. I don't know. Could be either or, I suppose. Let's take a peek in this trunk here. We got the keys right here. All right, there we go. There's a fuel tank in the back. And none underneath the car, so this must be a new fuel tank they had got for it, which is awesome. Bunch of extra trim pieces here. It looks like maybe some carpeting. Big old air cleaner lid. Sun visors. Fender skirts. And quite possibly a car cover or something. Yeah, I think so. There's a car cover back here. Yeah, we're starting to farm here on the trunk lid. And it looks like we may have roads that had gotten in here at some point. It does stink a little bit back here. And the underside of this trunk lid also looks like moisture got in there, but obviously these seals are pretty old and rotten. Still, the metal is very solid. A little bit starting to eat away here, but my 65 over there is way worse in the back. And the floor of the trunk, from what I can see right now, we'll take a closer look down the road, but it looks like they had it redone or something. It's extremely solid, no rust down there. There's our plate. As you can see, 97 was when these guys last had it tabbed. You gotta love these fins on the back here. Style. Well, now that we checked out the rest of the car, let's see what's under the hood here. We got a little glimpse of this when we were working on the hearse. There's a brand new carburetor. Obviously, the rockers that we pulled off for the hearse are not on there right now, and a few of the push rods. We'll be able to get those back. out of that motor now that we have it back here, and there is a water pump on here, so that's good news. They must have replaced the one that's laying on the floor of the back seat at some point. Now the inside of this motor looks like it was very well taken care of, super clean from what we can see here. A little bit of debris went in there since it was open, but we'll clean that all out. Brand new carburetor that looks like it's never been used. A couple spark parts, and I believe we had taken the cap off of that distributor, which is laying right here, when we did the hearse as well. Let's take a quick peek at the fluids and see what they look like. The oil looks like it was changed and never ran up until the point that we picked this thing up. It looks like it's brand new still. Like I said, the guy that we got it from basically just stopped working on it when his brother passed away. Right? Yeah. Now there was some fuel pump parts in the back there. It looks like they probably put a new fuel pump on at some point, and they don't have it all the way plumbed in. Obviously, there's no fuel tank in there yet, so we'll have to plumb all that in. That's no biggie. Let's see what the transmission fluid's looking like. Nice and red. It's got a little bit of a burn smell to it, but not too bad. Seen and smelled way worse than that and still worked. So power steering is pretty full, and coolant dry as a bone. Pretty standard. Okay, well, now that we know where our fluids are all looking like, I guess we could do a little spin test and see if this thing twirls over. Yep, spins nice and free. All right, that belt's a little loose, but the crank's spinning, and I think we're gonna have no problems getting this thing back up and going. I'm not sure if they ever had this thing running since they started putting new parts and working on it, but I have no doubt that we could probably get this thing going. And seeing as it's a Cadillac, it should run like a dream. So to start with, I'm only going to be taking off the parts I need off of this motor, which are the valve covers, the rockers, a few push rods. We'll just take all the ones off of this side so we know we have enough. As well as the distributor cap and all the plug wires. Now before I throw these parts back on this motor, I wanted to take a look at all the spark plugs. I've got them all pulled. They don't look too bad, so I'm just going to give them a quick cleaning. Check the gaps on all of them. We'll throw them back in. I already did throw the 2 push rods on this side that we needed. And I've got all my parts laid out, the rockers, valve cover bolts, spark plug cleaning supplies. Valve covers are painted with new gaskets ready to go. So let's get these spark plugs cleaned up. Then we can get ready to throw all those parts back on here before we hook power up. Now I'm just going to do what I normally do. Run a little sandpaper in there, spray them down with some brake cleaner, burn them off a little bit, re-gap them, and we'll throw them right back in. All right, plugs are all cleaned up and re-gapped, going back in. And then the rocker arms back on. Now in the process of trying to get everything hooked back up on here, I put the motor at top dead center and the distributor is not clocked correctly. I know that we could just run the wires starting where it's pointing, but I'd like to have it somewhat legit here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this thing, clock it correctly, we'll throw it back in, and that way at least we could start fresh with number one cylinder where it needs to be, and then we'll get all the wires in the correct orientation. Before we throw the valve covers on, I would like to make sure all the rockers are rocking. So after I get this distributor reset, I think we'll hook the battery up and see what we have for power and if this thing turns over with the key. I think that's about where we want to be, pointed at number one cylinder. I'll just throw the hold down back on and lock this thing in place. I am going to run a little sandpaper over the points before we throw the cap on. So I believe I've got the points all cleaned up the best I could. I got the battery hooked up, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and do a little spin test here. Oh yeah. Spins over nicely. Well, since it spins over, I suppose I'll just go ahead and throw this cap back on here. We'll start getting these plug wires all where they need to go. Now before I plug these in, I just want to confirm that I'm getting spark. And it looks like we are. Beautiful. Now I believe I've got all the plug wires where they need to be. I'm just going to do a quick fire test to see if this thing pops for us. Let's see what she does. Let's go ahead and adjust the distributor just a tad. Okay, we're just going to confirm that we're firing at the correct time by cranking it over and using our timing light to see if it's lighting up at the right time. So go for it. All right, hold on. And we're way off. Let me go try that. Oh, hold on, getting closer. That. There it is. Now let me feed her a little bit. Give her a shot. Woohoo! There it goes. That was it. Well, as you can see, we've got our fuel tank hooked up. We want to see if this new fuel pump that they installed here is actually pumping, as well as if it does pump, this thing should fire right off for us since we pretty much got it right there now. So we can run it a little bit and we can see if there's oil coming up to the rockers as well as all the rockers working correctly. At that point, we can start tying things up. So let's give it a shot here. All right, brother, let's see if she pumps. Yep. Is it pumping yet? Let me look in here. No pumpy yet. Might take a minute, I suppose. We need a filter we can see. Maybe we should, huh? So we swapped out the filter that was in here for a Wix that we can actually see into so we can see if that fuel's pumping. So let's give her a shot. Okay. Oh, she is pumping fuel. Hopefully we're about there. It doesn't seem like it's pumping. Let me check these screws here. So, quarter. Okay, so that's pretty much barely open. 1.5. Try that. Go again. Alright, well, she does run. We don't have any water in her yet, so we don't want to run her too long. It looks like we're getting oil to the top. It did fire up real nicely though, once it got fuel in there. So now, obviously we don't want to run a boat tank on this car. We've got the fuel tank here that was in the trunk. We're going to try to get that situated in the back. We do have to find a plug for that. We think we might have found what we need right there. We'll plumb fuel in from the tank, get the valve covers on here with new gaskets, and try to start hooking anything up yet that we need to hook up. But man, what a sweet ride. We went ahead and put some coolant in here. It's not leaking anywhere. We want to make sure that's flowing, so we're going to go ahead and fire this back up. And I'm going to double check timing at the same time, and then we're going to go check the transmission fluid as well. We'll try to click it through all the gears and then make sure the tranny level is topped off. So let's fire it back up and see how it's looking. Nothing on the stick as suspected, so let's get it to a point where we can actually read it on the stick, and then we can run it through the gears. I think I feel pretty good about throwing the covers back on. The rockers there's no funny noises, and they seem to be doing what they need to be doing, so I feel pretty good about it. So once we shut her down, we'll put those on. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're looking good. Right off. That's probably good. Okay, we're gonna jump right into transmission test. Just gonna throw her in gear and see if we get any spinach out of the rear tires here. 30 miles an hour. Alright, I got her in neutral. Okay, so now that we got some heat in this thing, let's drain the oil out of her And that way we can do a quick oil change and a new filter. Ooh, there it is, yep. Just like I thought. Is there a frog in here? Is there something in there? Dude, there's something in there.
What?
Dude. Hey, I found our other valve cover bolt.
No way.
2 of them.
Oh my god.
See that? There they are. We needed those. Alright, now for the filter. This filter actually doesn't look too old, but we're going to swap it out anyways. New filter going up. Alright, so drain plug's back in. Oil filter's on. We're going to go ahead and top this thing off with oil. And we're going to throw these valve covers on now. There we go. Ooh, that's going to look sharp. Ooh, getting some Lucas in there, huh?
Yeah, I might as well throw a quart in. Help the old gal out.
Yeah, why not?
Oh yeah. Really sets her off.
All right, so we've got all the fluids swapped out, changed over to fresh fluid. The only thing we've got to do yet really is bleed these brakes out. We've got that reservoir topped off. We're going to attempt to go bleed them out here. All the bleeders should be pretty well broke free. You got her pumped?
Yep.
It's going to probably take a minute to get fluid back here. Okay, go again.
Okay.
And again.
Okay.
You want to actually see if it's using the fluid a minute?
Yeah, you good?
Yep.
Yeah, it's using it.
Oh, it's using it? All right, well, I guess we'll keep going then.
Let me top her off.
Yep. Oh, there she comes. Yeah. Woo. Nice. So it took us a minute to get fluid to the back. We have to do the fronts first since it's all running off of one line. Okay, so the brakes are done. We're going to do a quick fire up again, throw it in gear, and see if they actually work. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, they work. You got reverse? Oh, you got reverse on that side. Oh, wow. Yeah, you're cruising. Hit the brake. Brake. That ain't doing nothing here. It works on the other side. Alright, so for some odd reason this one started spinning now and the brakes do not work there. They did stop the tire on this other side here, but I'm not really sure what's going on there. Maybe the brakes are just too worn out over here, or they're not adjusted correctly. We might have to set her on the ground, throw it in gear, do just a move test and see if it stops it while it's on the ground. So we just realized we did not check what else works on this car. We got one headlight, no tail lights. Oh, there's nothing hooked up back here, remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I'm assuming we don't have any lights in the back because the wiring's just hanging out. We'll have to do that, hook all that back up to see what we can get working. We'll have to kind of dig around up here, see if we can get some of these other headlights to kick on. So with the high beam switch, oh, we do have all four. High beams work. Maybe click that button again. You're really weak on this one side. It's pretty bright over there. Yeah, so with the low beams, you only get the one side over there.
Blinker?
Oh, and blinkers? No, no blinkers. Oh, you got a blinker on that side. How about on the fender here? No blinker light on the fender. That's a bummer. No horn. It clicks, but no noise. Hold on. Is this a horn? Oh! Horn works. I think if we redo that or clean up that connection, we'll probably have a good horn. Man, this thing is sweet. In preparation for installing the fuel tank, I want to make sure this line's clear, so we're going to run a little brake cleaner in here, and then I'll blow it out with air, see if it comes out the back. And on top of that, I also want to make sure my sending unit is flowing freely. So let's go ahead and pull this thing out as well. And we'll spray it. Oh, it looks like it's missing the sock, which is not great, but as long as there's nothing in that tank, it'll flow fine. Well, it does flow, but it's not going to catch any debris here, that's for sure. And I may have to make a new gasket. It looks like these guys just cut this gasket out of just a piece of cardboard or paper. I'm going to use some cork and do the same thing, but it'll seal better. Okay, so there's my new cork gasket. I basically just roughly measured the inside and outside diameters. Let's go ahead and see if it fits. And it looks like that'll work. It covers all the screw holes. So we'll go ahead and reinstall this sending unit and get ready to throw the tank up underneath the car here. All right, under the car we go with the tank here. I've got to get the wires hooked up a minute and then get this thing up on the straps. There we go. There we go. All right, I think I got her. Yep, there she is. Ready to be filled up with fuel and start doing this thing. Well, the old boat tank is officially unhooked. And we're about to see two different things. We're about to see if this plug that we put in the tank actually holds fuel from draining out. And see if we can get fuel pumping up to the front there. Oh no, definitely not holding. We took the old drain out and we ended up putting this oil pan drain plug in here with a gasket. And so far so good. We're gonna let it sit for a few and see if it starts leaking. We're at about 5 gallons and still no leak. So I think we're gonna call it there and head on up to the front. We're all plumbed in. Let's go ahead and see if we get fuel up here. Yeah, we're getting fuel. That sounds pretty good. Working. Running like a top. I was hoping the fuel gauge would work, but it doesn't look like it's working. The sending unit's not sending the level over here. We'd like to get some temp in it. Let's see if we can let it run for a few. So obviously this thing is super loud right now because the exhaust is pretty much busted off right here. Now I'm just gonna put a sleeve over it. I thought I had all the pieces I needed, such as the clamps and whatnot, but I need a 2.5 inch clamp and I only had a 3 inch and a 2 1/4. So we will have to pick up a few more clamps, but let's see if we can get this thing on here and see if it's actually a little quieter. This Cadillac is not supposed to be that loud. There we go. No, it ain't perfect, but let's see if it quiets her down a little bit. Okay, here it goes. That's better. It's still leaky, but a lot quieter. I like it. We'll have to get the right clamps, make sure she's all tightened up and somewhat leak free, but that does quiet it down quite a bit. I'm pretty happy with that. Now we did come across one more issue we got to fix, and that's a leaky wheel cylinder on the front right tire here. As you can tell, it's dripping out of that drum right there, and it drained the entire master cylinder here. So we're gonna have to repair that over there, bleed the system out again, and hopefully then we'll be free and clear on the brakes. Now since the parts stores are closed for the night, and all I really have left to do is that wheel cylinder, we would like to clean the interior of this thing out a little bit. So to get prepped for that, I think I'm gonna pull all the seats out of here. That way we can basically gut this, shop vac the whole thing out. We're not going to be putting carpet in here or nothing, but at least clean the seats up, clean the floor up, and that way it's all cleaned up when we get ready to take this thing for a drive. Oh, there we go. All right. Here's the rear seat. You might as well pull this old carpet out too. It's pretty nasty. Oh, it's got some water in there. Gross. Now the front seat I'm just gonna leave in here. It's extremely heavy. It's got a lot of hardware on the back. I don't wanna risk messing this seat up since it was just recovered. We'll just work around it. We'll clean out the back, scooch it back a little bit, then we'll clean up here. Then we can just move it back into place, bolt it back down, and we should be good to go. Now the last thing I'm going to do here tonight in preparation for the wheel cylinder that we're hoping to get tomorrow, I'm going to see if I can get this wheel and drum pulled and at least get access to the wheel cylinder, maybe start pulling it. That way tomorrow when we get the new one, we can just slap that in, re-bleed this system, and hopefully we'll be ready to take this thing on a little spin. Oh, no cotter pin. Woohoo! I think somebody was in here already. Oh, that wasn't too bad. So that cylinder's definitely leaking. You can see how it's all wet there. We'll get that thing pulled and slap a new one in there tomorrow. There we go. Managed to get it pulled without taking too much apart. Just take it off of this brake line here and we should be all ready. There it is. Bad wheel cylinder. Well, after checking at all of the local parts stores, none of them are able to get a wheel cylinder in until this next weekend. And we would really like to put this thing on the road. So I dove under the 65 Cadillac and wouldn't you know it, it's the exact same wheel cylinder. So we went ahead and pulled that off. We're gonna throw it in here. This one worked good. It's in good shape. It'll be just fine in here and it matches everything. the bleeder, the brake line, the screws that hold it in there. It's the exact same system. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this thing in here. That way we can get these brakes bled back out, and then maybe we can take this thing for a drive. And we're all back together. Get this drum back on here. And then we're actually going to throw a cotter pin in here, since that's what we're supposed to do. Throw our cap back on. Bingo. Now, one thing we were able to get today were these 2.5-inch exhaust clamps. So let's pull this 3-inch off of here and throw those on. Let's give her a little sound check now. It's still a little bit loud, but sounds a lot better. I can actually hear the exhaust coming out the back now. Now, I just realized there is one thing I did not check that I was very, very excited to see if it worked, was these windows. Since when all of these 4 windows are down, there's no B-pillar here. It's just all open. So, and let's see here. Oh man, that is amazing. Uh-oh. Okay, it's very slow coming up. So the driver's window works. That is crazy. Oh, so does the passenger. That one's a broken window, so I probably shouldn't do that. You have got to be kidding me. I'm gonna try to throw these both down. And let's close these doors, see what it looks like. That is awesome. I cannot believe those actually work. Yep, all 4 windows work. And they look like they have a little bit of a tough time coming back up. I'm gonna have to help them to the up position here, it looks like. Oh, there it goes. Now, I don't have the seat motor in there yet. I may see if we can install that. All the wiring is just laying right here. Now, while we're in the process of cleaning here, I might as well show you the floors. Now you can see it's dirty. There was some water sitting in here, but these floors are extremely solid. There's no holes in them. Both sides and the front. The rear's also solid. You can't see through to the floor at all. There's almost no rust. And then the trunk, like I mentioned before, we got it kind of cleaned out now. It's got the headliner in here. Let's pull that out a minute. Look at that. Not a lick of rust in here. I'm not sure how it was preserved so well. Maybe it was always kept inside. I'm not sure, but floors are solid as they can be. Can't ask for much more than that. Well, the brakes are re-bled. I'm going to throw this tire back on here. And at that point, I think we may be ready to drop this car on the ground. Now, I did come around out back in the trunk here and hooked up all the electrical plug-ins that I could find. We've got the two fin lights on the side here, right there, and then these 2 in the center are for the tail lights. And as you can tell, we've got lights back here. Fin light works, both sides, as well as the tail light both sides. Let's go ahead and try that blinker. We know that blinker on the driver's side works up front, and it works back here as well. Got the blinker working on the passenger side. It was just a broken wire down here on the back of it. It does work in the back. One other thing I hooked up that I said I was going to try to install on the seat was this seat motor, and it just runs with all these cables that are pretty much like a speedometer cable. Now the controls for that are right on the door here, and if I push that, you can actually hear it click, but it does nothing to these cables. It's arcing as well. Now that we know that, I don't think I'm going to take the time to install it on that seat. I'm going to bolt that seat back down so we can actually drive this thing. We'll put that motor in the parts area for now. Try to get this interior wrapped up and see if we can get it ready to put on the road. Well, now that she's on the ground, let's do a quick move test. Make sure that it's going to stop itself. Let's fire it up and see what she does. Here's reverse. Kind of feels like it's dragging a little. It does move and the brakes work great, so I think it's safe to say we can take this thing on the road if we need to. It got a little late last night and I want to drive this thing in the daylight, so I think she's ready to go. Let's find out. Well, I gotta say, this car performed beautifully on the road. The transmission might be getting a little bit weak. We do have the extra from the hearse. If we really needed to throw that in here, it wouldn't be too big of a deal. But how good does this car look with these hubcaps, the fender skirts? What a beautiful car. There's obviously still a few more things that need to be done to this car, like the interior, but it is usable as is. We had a great time working on it. It was a blast to drive. We're gonna move on to some of the other unique vehicles that we have lined up and ready to go. Once again, thanks for watching. If you could, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. And don't forget to like, share, and comment as well. And we'll see you on the next one.